Hello everyone, welcome back to Primo ICT Lectures channel. I am Oscar, ICT Facilitator. In this video, we are going to talk about the Python variables. We will learn what variables are, how to create variables in Python, rules for naming variables in Python, different types of variables in Python, and simple examples of variable declaration in Python. Let's get started. What is a variable? A variable is like a container that stores data. This means that in computer programming, a variable is like a short-term memory created by a programmer that can store different variables. For example, we have variable called the age, which is assigned value 15. This is how we create a variable in Python. Age is the variable name, 15 is the value stored in the variable. Now let's see how we can create variables in Python or variable declaration in Python. In Python, creating a variable is very easy. You don't need to declare the type like in other programming language. In other programming languages like C++, to declare a variable, you must use what we call data type. But here in Python, you do not need to declare a variable by using a data type. So the syntax for variable declaration in Python is very easy. You just give the name of a variable name, assignment or equal sign, and value. For example, we have a variable called the name, assigned the value John. John is embedded within double quotes because it's a text. But for example, this variable called Max is assigned 85 as a value, and we have another variable called height, which is assigned 1.75. So we have three different variables declared in Python. So declare a variable in Python by suggesting variable name, equal sign or assignment operator, and the value. Now let's see variable naming rules in Python. This means the rules to be obeyed when a programmer is creating variables in Python. Rule number 1, a variable name must start with a letter or underscore. So in Python, variable name start with either a letter or underscore. For example, variable student, total, and so on. Rule number 2, a variable name cannot start with a number or a digit. For example, variable name toName is invalid because this variable starts with a number. Rule number 3, a variable name in Python can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. So you can create a variable name using a combination of letters, numbers, and underscores. For example, we have variable called student name. The rule number 4, no spaces is allowed. So as a programmer, you are not allowed to leave blank space within a variable name. Instead of leaving empty space within a variable name, you should use underscore. And the rule number 5, Python is case sensitive. This means that when you have two variables, when you have two variables, Python will treat them differently if one of variable contains a capital letter, whereas another one has no capital letter. For example, we have two variables, variable age starting with a capital letter A, and another variable age starting with capital letter, a small letter a. So these two variables are very different, which means that Python is case sensitive, means the variables, the similar variables are treated differently if one of the two has capital letter, whereas another one doesn't have it. Now let's see some types of variables in Python. So we can classify variables depending on the values assigned to the variable. So we have variable called school assigned GS Ruheru. This is a string or a text variable. And we have another variable called students, which is assigned 50. This is an integer because the value is a whole number. And we have float or decimal numbers. Variable average is assigned 12.5. And we have Boolean variable. This variable can store true or false value. For example, passed is assigned true as a value. Python is dynamic, so this means that you can change the variable data type during variable declaration. So Python is dynamic, so a variable can change type during variable declaration. Now let's see how we can display variable contents on the computer screen, known as printing variables. Printing variables consist of displaying variable contents on the screen. We use print function. Example, let's create a variable called the name and assign it Alice as value. So statement print name will show the name Alice on the computer screen. We can also create another variable called the age and assign it value 16. When we say print I am, age, years old, so we have combined text variables and integer variables. So this statement of printing function will display the text I am 16 years old. Thank you for watching my video. If you find it helpful, don't forget to subscribe.